welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and today we've got something of a treat for you, and for me I might add, because you can see today's puzzle is a fog of war puzzle, and I absolutely love this innovation in the world of Sudoku solving. So the idea here is that we have to get correct digits into the grid to clear the fog and reveal the puzzle to us. The puzzle's called Drunkard's Walk, and it's got a very cool rule set, and it's by FullDeck. I'm missing a few cards, and this is a very, very good day to be doing this puzzle because it's actually FullDeck's birthday. So very happy birthday, Eliza, from Mark and from me. I hope you enjoy watching me struggle through your puzzle, perhaps with a piece of chocolate cake on the side. Yeah, this is apparently a very, very cool puzzle. It involves modular lines and finding a route through the grid, I think from here to here, using some peculiar rules about street lamps after a night out on the tiles. So I'll read you this in just a moment, but it's a seriously clever puzzle by all accounts, and that's exactly what we'd expect from FullDeck. I'm missing a few cards, who are two very, very eminent mathematicians from Clemson University. I hope I'm not revealing too much about real identities. I think the two of them are sort of known. They've been outed. So I hope, Eliza and Neil, you won't mind me letting that secret out. It's not a secret of Sudoku, but it's sort of tangentially related. Anyway, I've got some news for you before I read you the rules of this one. The first bit of news is that Mark and I are going to be streaming on Friday evening at 10 o'clock UK time. We're going to be continuing to try and guess the setter. So this was caused by a series of puzzles made by the Sudoku Skunk Works in response to a very silly brag that I made on a stream once, where I claimed I could guess the name of a setter just based off the solving experience of solving a puzzle, and I think they've set out to prove me wrong, and they will probably be successful. So anyway, Mark and I are going to be solving some puzzles, some Sudoku puzzles on Friday night. We'd love to have your company if you're around. Next, I need to congratulate more of you who managed to solve our 12 Labours of Hercules Sudoku hunt. So, very well done to the following. Monty Coulomb. That sounds better. Thomas Shockman. Luminous Cat. VJ Tocco. Rick Lobb. Flora and Edie Harrington. Mario Buto. AG. What does that one say? Chanel Dawes. Nora Hamacha. Kevin and April Fanning. Christine Menard, Ruben Roost, James Hines, and Penty Pulkinen. You all sent in the correct entries. Very well done. The video solutions to those puzzles, by the way, are either out now or imminently out. I know they've been uploaded to the channel, so they really should be with you very soon. I still need to draw the winner, though. I'll try and do that later on today. Now the only other thing I wanted to mention today is something a bit different. I don't do this very often, and I hope you'll forgive me for doing it today. I think the last time I mentioned a charity was in response to my brother finishing his series of marathons. He ran a marathon in every single European country. But I'd like to just share with you something that my cousin Miranda over there in Australia shared on Facebook the other day, which is a video about my Auntie Ginny, who suffered from breast cancer about 25 years ago. And they made this it's a thought-provoking, moving video. It's only very short. I'm going to put a link to this under this video. This is my cousin's. This is my very glamorous auntie.
All along, I thought, no,
someone
they've made a mistake.
Who is relentlessly positive about life.
With your help,
that was my Uncle John, by the way. You could just see in the background there.
Disease, and breast cancer might become a faded memory.
I hope for some of you, I hope you understand why I share it, and I hope you don't mind me sharing it. As I say, we don't do that very often, but if any of you are in a position to do so and fancy doing so, it's a very good cause. And yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. Right, let's move on to... let's change tack altogether. Let's have a look at Drunkard's Walk and have a look at the rules of FullDeck and Missing a Few Cards puzzles. Here they are. Normal Sudoku rules apply. After a night of celebrating, our hero leaves row 1, column 1 through the fog, trying to get home to row 9, column 9. With each step, they move to an orthogonally adjacent cell, forming a modular line as they go. What, you might be asking, is a modular line? And that is a good question, especially as yesterday we did entropic lines and I confused the two in my head. So let's work out what a modular line is. It says, this means that any set of 3 contiguous cells along the path must include 1 digit from 1, 4 and 7, 1 digit from 2, 5 and 8, and 1 digit from 3, 6 and 9. So let's draw a bit of path in. Got to be careful in terms of showing examples in the fog of war puzzles, because if I accidentally put the right digit in, it'll reveal great swathes of the grid, and that would be tantamount to cheating, and we don't cheat on cracking the cryptic. So let's I've switched. I'm not in big mode, so I think this shouldn't reveal anything. So what we're saying here is, let's have a look at these first 3 cells. This cell has to be of a particular modularity. Let's say it was a 3, 6 or a 9. You could immediately say then that these 2 cells could not be from that same modularity, because if we made one of these 2 cells a 3, 6 or a 9, there would be 2 digits of that modularity in that 3 cell set, and therefore there couldn't be one of each of the other modularities, and there needs to be one of each modularity within each 3 cell sequence. So let's say it went 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8. Now we would know the modularity of this cell and this cell, because this cell would have to be the same modularity as this one, because these 3 cells obviously have to include one of each modularity, so that would have to be a 3, 6 or a 9. Now this one would have to be a 1, 4 or a 7 again, because those 3 haven't got one of that modularity in them. So that's how modular lines work. It's a very weird constraint, but weird and wonderful. We like that sort of thing on this channel. Right, and the rules continue. They stagger from street lamp to street lamp. Street lamp brackets yellow circles. These yellow circles, these yellow circles are street lamps, and we're going to stagger from one to the other. Some of the street lamps are visible from the start, but others are hidden by the fog and will only be revealed when correct digits are placed nearby. So this is how we clear the fog. We've got to get correct digits into the grid. Their path must lead them to every street lamp. Right, so we've got to go to every street lamp. All street lamps are from the same modular set, and whenever a number from that set is on the path, it appears as a street lamp. So if that's a 1, 4 or a 7, all of these would be from 1, 4 or 7, which would be mighty powerful. Let me just hang on. All street lamps from that same modular are from that same modular set, and whenever a number from that set is on the path, it appears as a street lamp. Okay. Numbers from that modular set which are not on the path are not street lamps. Okay. And then in cages, digits cannot repeat and must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage if given. Okay, so we've got some cages which are sort of partially formed, apart from that one that's fully formed. If our hero enters a cage, they must completely traverse the cage before exiting it. Some killer cages may be avoided entirely. Right, so there's something going on with cages as well. If we go in a cage, we're not allowed to leave the cage until we've visited all the cells of the cage. Presumably obeying the modular line rules as we work, as we move. So it's a very cool rule set. I've no idea how I'm going to fit this on the screen of the video, but you'll hopefully be able to see those rules on the right hand side, assuming I've solved the puzzle. What a disaster that would be if Eliza didn't get this birthday present. But wish me luck. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I can see I've got a 1-2 pair down here, so I'm going to put that in. And I can see that I presume what I've got to do here is to think about the way that these cages extend, because we know that everything with a fog lamp in it, a street lamp I should say, has to be visited by the path, and then once we go into a cage with a street lamp, we must not leave the cage until we've visited every cell. So that means that those two, the path must take in those two cells. It must take in those two cells. It must take in those two cells, those two cells, those two cells, those two cells, nori nori. Now, hang on a minute. Can't quite work out what that one does. Let me just fill in those two as well. Let me just come back to this one. Is this telling me I have to do that? Or is it not? Because I can see that that cell and that cell are in the same cage as this cell because there's no dottedness to the north or east side. So what I'm just pondering is whether I can come in from the side here or not. I don't think I can. I might be wrong about this, but if this cage wasn't here, I think I could then come in sideways and do something like that, or like that. But once that is forced to be a thing, if I was to try and do that again, so to make that movement, you can see the path would branch. I'm assuming that I'm not allowed to do that. It doesn't expressly state that the path is non-branching, but I think we can take that as read. He says, hoping. Okay, let me think about this. So my belief is, because I've got to visit both of those, have it, or as well as this without leaving the cage, I don't see how I can do that if I come in from the side, assuming a non-branching path. So if that's right, then that is part of the path, which suggests that this 17 and this, whatever this is, this right angle, well, they certainly look like they want to join up. The only way they don't join up is if that is an 8-9 pair. An 8 and 9 are not... Oh, so it can be. I was about to say doesn't work, but that's because I've got entropy in my mind. No. Yeah. Well, no, yeah. What a gibbering. Stop being a gibbering chimp, Simon, and actually say things that are remotely intelligent. No, these can be an 8-9 pair, because 8 and 9 are not in the same modular set. They are in the same entropic set, but you're not doing an entropic puzzle. So this could be an 8-9 pair, and then this cage here could be absolutely any size we want. But see, the thing I was interested in, hopefully it was very clear, but if this joins up to that, that's a 5-cell cage that couldn't be any bigger, because the triangular number for 6 is 21, and given we can't repeat a digit in a cage, we'd have to stop at that p pentomino of pathiness for the 17 cage. If it extended any further, it would add up to more than 17. Right. So, but now my suspicion is this is an 8-9 pair, and then who knows what this does. Right. Oh, I know what we do. Right. Okay. Look at when we did the example, you could see that the same modularity has to appear regularly along the line. So it appears every 3 cells. So how could that be a thing? Well, clearly that doesn't work, because then we know that the yellow cells are of the same modularity. So that's going to connect those together on the path only sort of 2 apart, and that's not right. So we can put a little X in there. We can do exactly the same there. Oh, maybe that. Oh no, okay. I was thinking maybe that would rule out this and this being in the same cage, because, you know, if we were to connect them in the same cage, they'd have to be 3 apart, but they are 3 apart, so that's actually possible. This is really unusual because it's very far from clear to me how we're actually going to start this. Usually with Fog of War, because you get such limited information at the start, it's a very linear path that's fairly transparently obvious. And unfortunately, I feel like I'm the one who's been out on the night celebrating, and I'm trying to stagger through the puzzle very poorly at the moment. Can we do stuff with these 8 cages then? I really am not used to modular lines, so I keep having to look at the instructions to see what's in each set. 1, 4, 7, right. Okay, you can't have a 3-cell 8 cage. Well, in this puzzle you can't have a 3-cell 8 cage and a street lamp, because if you did, you know you've got to go into that cage. But then a 3-cell 8 cage is either going to be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. And the problem is that 2 of those digits are from the same modular set. So if you go 1, 3, 4, you've got the 1 and the 4 from the 1, 4, 7 set. If you go 1, 2, 5, you've got the 2 and the 5 from the 2, 5, 8 set. So you're not going to have the appropriate spacing between the modular digits. So that tells us that these 8 cages are 2 cells large, and they're not 1, 7. They're not 1, 7 because 1 and 7 are from the same modular set. So these are from 2 and 6, which are in different modular sets, and 3 and 5, which are in different modular sets. Right, so these digits are from they're either 3, 5 or they're 2, 6. At least that's some... Right, and that gives us a quadruple in the first row. So that digit, which is part of a 26... Oh, right. No. Right, hang on. Because yellow cells are from the same modular set. So I can never put 3 or 6... I can... Is that right? Hang on. Yellow is either one from the 147 set or the 258 set. So that, that yellow can't be from the 369 set. It can't. They're all from the same. So these have got to be not 3, 6, which means that these... We've now got a 2, 5 pair, so these are from the 3, 6 set. And this one is an 8. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, because I've suddenly realised I've got 3 digits in row 1 from the same modular set, and I've just worked out these are 2 and 5, so that must be the other digit, which is 8, and that reveals a load of fog. So suddenly this is like we've I don't know, we've taken the saline drip or something. Our hangover is going away. We've got, well, that digit's now got to be 2 or 5 because it's got to be from the 258 modular set. Oh, yeah, here's a good point. There is no southerly dottedness in this cell. So this cage goes into this cell. Well, doesn't that mean that we have to do that? Because if the cage went anywhere else, like say it went to this cell, we'd do that, and then this would have nowhere to go without creating a branch. So I think that's forced, and I think that means that this is a 4-cell cage. And that is beautiful, actually. That is beautiful because that can't be a 2. Because if that's a 2, how do we fill those digits? And the answer is with the digits. We have to have 3 digits that add to 24. They're going to have to be 7, 8 and 9. And that's going to make that 12 cage very hard to fill. Because, I was going to put double 6 into it, which I think wouldn't reveal this cell because it can't be double 6, but I'm not totally sure how the software works, so I don't dare do it. But yeah, there's no way this is 2. That 12 cage would have no fill, so that must be 5. That was correct because it revealed stuff. So this this 12 cage is now 3 and 9, which are from the same modular set. So we can't you can't make the path go in here anymore, because if the path goes in there, it's got to take both cells, and they would be sequential cells from the same modular set. So that tells us how this thing moves. I'm almost I wonder if that's how these puzzles work. I wonder if, because we've started here, whether we're almost learning how Eliza and Neil set the puzzle. You know, because you can almost imagine as a setter, you're in this position and you've got decisions to make about what to reveal next out of the fog. So those two squares now add up to 13 by mathematics, but don't involve 9 or 8. So they're 6 and 7, which are from different modular sets. I think they must be, because sequential digits like 6 and 7, because of the way modular sets work, they must be from different modular sets, and that's a good thing, given the nature of the line. You've got 30... Oh yeah, of course, right. Well, it's the same point. We've got 38 in those 6 cells there. So we could use the secret, but the secret is something I only tell my favourite people. We could have used the secret to deduce these are 1, 2 and 4, but we could just use sudoku, look. We haven't used the digits 1, 2 and 4 in the box. So do we know what that digit is? That digit can't be 2, because 2 is in the same modular set as 8. So that's got to be 1 or 4. Oh, and the other reason it can't be 2 is there's a 2-5 pair in the first row. Goodness me, Simon. Oh, look, there's a 3-6 pair in the first row. Use your brain. There's a 9 there, therefore. There's a 3 there, revealing more fog. That's a 2. That's got to be a 2, because we've worked out that the yellow digits are from the 2, 5, 8 set. So that's got to be a 2. Oh, well, hang on, let's see what the 1 gives us. Oh, oh no, you rotten thing. No, literally nothing. Well, almost nothing. That's got to be... Oh no, hang on, I'm maligning this. This cell is really important. It sees 2 and 5, and it's got to be from the 2, 5, 8 modular set, so it's an 8. And that does reveal the cages. So... Oh, right, this is lovely. I love things like this. This is just a teeny bit of elegance, and you can immediately see something. So look at this little cage here. I don't know a great deal about it, but I do know that this cell is from the same modular set as this one, because this has got to be from the 2, 5, 8 set. Now, given that we have to visit using our staggering path, our random walk, we have to visit every cell in this cage. Well, we now can't go directly between the 8 and the 2 and the 5, because that would break the rules of modular lines. So we have to put that in, which forces a little n in the grid for our path. Now, what on earth does that mean? It means I can place 2 in box 3. It's got to go there. Boom. I get, just using the power of 2-ness. So this digit is now 5 or 8. This digit is 2 or 8. I should have put these in before, shouldn't I? I should have gone through all the yellow digits and just put in their options. That would have been sensible. What have we got along the top of the grid now? We've got, because this is a sort of virtual quadruple, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1, 4, 7. We've got a snooker maximum in these 3 cells. And 1, 4 and 7 are from the same modular set. So that means we can never cross from that cell to that cell, because we'd be breaking the rules again. So what's going on between this little strand here and this strand here? So this cell, wherever it's either going up for its next move or it's going that way. And then this one is either going there or there. So these connect to each other. We know that this connects to this cell, connects to this cell, and it does it in its next move. So it's okay. So its next move you can see it's already got a 3, 6. It's got a 2, 5. So its next move into one of those cells is a 1, 4 or a 7. But I don't know whether this can be a 1, 4 or a 7. It looks like it can be. But okay, but that means that cell is a 6 or a 9, I think. Is that right? So because the next digit we get here is a 1, is one of those, it's got to be 1, 4 or 7. So that cannot be 1, 4 or 7, and it cannot be 2, 5 or 8. So that's 3, 6 or 9, and it can't be 3. So that means the next digit after this one is a 1, 4 or a 7 again. There's a cage going on here, but I don't know what that means. What about this 19 cage? Can we do anything with this? Do we know whether... Well, yeah, that's interesting. How could that do that? It can't, because then we can't visit all the cells of this 19 cage without exiting the cage to do it. So it doesn't go there, which means it must extend there. So it probably comes in here. Oh, no, actually, maybe not. Maybe that could do that or something. Although, no, that's not right. That's not right. If this turns that way, we get exactly the same problem with the 19 cage. This has got to go up and then can't take both cells of the 19 cage. So that's forced, and now that digit is from the 369 modularity, and that's about as useful as a chocolate teapot. Bobbins. Okay. And what have we got? Maybe we can use the secret on this box. We've got 11 there and 19. That's 30. So these 3 digits have to add up to 15. And that is because of the secret. And I will tell you the secret now. The secret is that any complete box of a Sudoku, indeed any complete row, any complete column, because of the rules of Sudoku, has to sum up to 45, because it will contain the digits 1 to 9 once each. And if you add up 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9, you will find you get the number 45, the triangular number for 9. So if I know this whole box adds to 45, but those 6 digits add up to 30, these have to add up to 15. Right, a 9, look. Where's 9 in this box? And the answer is 9 is not in one of those 15 cells, because it would have to, the other 2 cells would have to be 1, 5 or 2, 4, which they can't be. So 9 is in the 19 cage. Which means, right, I can place 5 in this box then. Because where does 5 go? You can't put 5 in the 19 cage now, because it will require another of itself in order to get to the right total. So that's got to be the 5, I want to say, by our old friend. That gives me a bit more fog. Okay, oh right, so what we've now established is therefore those 2 digits add up to 10. Which means that that is not 9, which we already knew from what we said before. So this is either 4 or 7. So we know its modularity. So that's got to be 3, 6 or 9 again by modular line rules. Now if that's 9, that's not going to work, because these 2 squares would have to add up to 3. And there is no way that's going to happen. So I've now got a 3, 6 pair in column 6. Oh, I see. And whatever I don't use there gets shunted into this box. There's an 8 in one of those 3 cells. That cell's not a 9 by Sudoku. So there's a 9 in one of these 3 cells. Okay, and I want to say this cell is a 6 or a 7. Because there must be a 6 or a 7 in this 19 cage. Because whatever's not used here, this is either 4, 6 or 3, 7. So one of those 6s and 7s is in here, where it's going to get pushed into that little cell. by the power of our old friend Sudoku, raising its ugly head in the puzzle after half an hour. Absolutely outrageous. Okay, so what do we do now? I can see we've got the makings of a 14 cage here, which has to take in at least those cells. Now, 14 cage could be 4 cells. I don't know whether it looks like there's sort of a black dot in the corner of this cell, which presumably wouldn't exist if this was a 2 by 2. I don't know whether I have to assume that's a 3-cell cage, therefore. It would seem very harsh if you have to use that little black dot to do that. I don't think I should use that. That feels a little bit risky. 5 is in one of those cells by Sudoku. Okay, now I'm getting a bit stuck. I'm not sure where I'm meant to look next. Do I know? Oh, that's an interesting thought. I was just thinking, do I have to know the direction that our reveller is moving along the line from here to here? If I know that this one, I end on a 258, and before the 258 is a 147. So we know that. So that's the same as that relationship, isn't it? Which suggests we're moving along the line in this direction. Because if we were moving in the other direction, if we go from the 8 to the 1-4, that's most certainly going to break by the time we get to the end of the line. We have to go regularly in 3s along the whole line, so we have to make sure. So we know that actually we're going this way. Now, does that mean I can join those up or not? Well, can I? No, yes, it does actually. I can't join the 2 to the 1-4 because if I do that, there's an 8 too soon on the line. So 2 and 8 from the same modular set. So I'm travelling along the line this way, and I end up here, and I can't go up because that 5 and 2 are from the same modular set. Oh, I tell you what I can do here. Look, that cell has to be the same modularity as that cell. It's 3 along the line, and that's a 1, 4 or 7. So that must be a 1, 4 or 7. That's lovely. So that's got to be 7. That's got to be 6. That's got to be... Well, we know that's 1 or 4. I don't know what this is. That's funny. It doesn't really... Oh, well, that 6 gives me a 9 here. Oh, and that... Right, that's just revealed a whole load of fog. What has that done for us? Oh, well, it's done some Sudoku. I've got a 21 cage without a 9 in it now, so that has to be 6, 7, 8, and there's a 7 here. So that's a 7. This is a 6, 8 pair. That's a 2 by the power of Sudoku, revealing more fog. That's a 3 by the power of Sudoku. That therefore, oh, I see, and now I can use my 8 cages. So that's got to be 5. That's got to be 2, revealing more fog. That's got to be 6. That's not... Oh, look. 7. That's just a 7 by Sudoku. So that's not 7. This cell... Oh, I see. It's 1 or 4. Okay. And... What's going on in this cage now? We've got... Ah, okay, so now our 17 cage... Oh, yeah, the point is our 17 cage is not a 2-cell cage. There's no dottage on its this cell's southerly or western side. So it is joining to these 2 cells, creating at least a 5-cell cage, and because it's a size 17, it cannot be greater than a 5-cell cage, and it cannot have a repeated digit in it, so it cannot have an 8. because if it had an 8, the other 4 digits would have to add up to 9. And 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. There is a knowledge bomb for you from Cracking the Cryptic. So that cell is exactly equal to 5, which gives me another digit here, or another reveal here. That can't... Oh, this cell's forced. It's in the same cage as a 5, and it can't be an 8, so that's a 2, revealing another great swathe of the grid. 5 and 7. Oh, this 12 cage can't have 5 or 9 in it, so it's got to be 4, 8, and that's going to give me another digit here. So that's 1, that's 4, that's 1, that's 4. No fog from all of those reveals. 17 cage with a 5 in it means the other 4 digits have got to be 1, 2, 3, and 6. So there is a 6 in this cage, and it can't go there. So that's a 6. This has got to be a 1, 3 pair. And I can see actually how to do that, because this 6 is the same modularity as 3. So if that's a 3, it's too close to it along the modular line. So that's got to be a 1, that's got to be a 3. This square here has got to be a something, a 9. Okay, so what's all that done? We've got a 23 cage has revealed itself. So if that's a 6, 8, 9 cage, this would have to be an 8, 9 pair, which may or may not be possible. I can't immediately see why it's not possible. This 3 gives me a 6 here by sudoku. So that gives me the 6 here. It gives me the 8 here. I've got 14 of the 20 I need in this, so I can't put another 7 in, or this would have to be a -1. So that's got to be 4. That's got to be 2. Revealing a little bit more fog. Do I know what that is now? No. I sort of feel like I ought to for some reason, but I don't think... I think all I know is it's the same modularity as this one, which it clearly I've already pencil marked that, so that seems sensible. Oh! Remember though, remember the mathematics of the box. So these have to add up to 15, so that's got to be a 6. So I did know that, but not through modularity, but through maths. That's a 7, therefore. Those two squares are... What are we adding up to? 19, so that's a 3, 9 pair. Could have done that by sudoku, but it's far more appealing to me, at least, to do it by maths. I think Eliza and Neil would approve of that. 2, 4 and 5 into these cells. Let's get rid of the 5 corner mark. So if that is a 3-cell 14 cage, that could be an 8 with a 2, 4 pair. Right, what are these digits then? These digits are 1, 6 and 8. So these digits, let's get rid of the 9 pencil mark, are 3, 7 and 9. Okay. And do we know... Ah, I know something. I know something. That can't cross this boundary because 5 and 8 are from the same modular set. So we enter a cage here, which does have another cell at least in it because there's no dottage on the south side. So we have to go from here to here. Connect. So there must be a 7 in that domino, because if that was a 3, 9 connection, both from the same modular set again. So that's not a 7. So this is... Oh, yeah. And, well, we know where the 7 goes. It's got to be 3 cells away from that 7, because otherwise it's too close in modularity. I'm starting to get the hang of this. That gave me another reveal. Oh, and this box is now really cluttered. What's this telling us? We need... This is a 3-cell. Oh, that's not a 1, because those 2 cells can't add up to 13. If that's a 6, can we make those 2 add up to 8? No, we cannot. So that is an 8 then. Let me just double check that. That feels like it was a bit... Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think the only way this cage can work is if that's an 8. These are therefore 2, 4. That becomes a 5. These are not 8, which gives us a 1, 6 pair. And, oh, lovely. Right, here's a point. 2 and 8 are in the same modular set. So as soon, so as soon as we get a cage that has 2 digits from the same modular set in, we can instantly disregard it from the path. We can never go in there now. And we can, that's beautiful. We can never drop down into this cell, because if we did, we've got to pick up that cell and that cell without leaving the cage, and that will not work. So we've got to do this and turn, which means this cell is a 5 by modularity, which we could have got already, but we now know where it goes on the path. Oh, and this is the same as this. We can't travel directly from the 5 into this square, which seems to have to be 2 or 8. I don't know if we know which of those it is. We probably do. I just can't see how to do it. But from a line perspective, that is a forced sort of impasse. So we've got to duck and do that and create a little parapet along our pathway. And then we can say that's 7. So that is 1, 4 or 7. It's not 7. Right, so that's 1 or 4, but we're in 23 land here. So if that's 1, these have to add up to 22, and they could if that's a 9. I don't believe it. Right, so this square here is 3, 6 or 9. It's not 6. And it's not 3, so it is 9. Okay, so that probably is 1 then. But anyway, let's do some sudoku. That's 3, that's 9. We've got 14 here, so these have to add up to 9. 8 and 1 is the only way that will work. So that is actually forced. 8, 1, and it looks like it's right because it flicked away a little bit of fog. Now, what's going on at the top here? I seem to have a stranded line segment. What's going on? Oh, I know one thing I can do that's simple. This line segment has to connect to all its friends without leaving the box. Now we can't do that because that would connect the 6 and the 3 together. So we must do that. Oh, this is gorgeous. Right, this is what this 12 cage is doing. If we turn left, I've got to stay in the 12 cage, which is going to strand this segment. So I can't turn left, I've got to go up. And let's check the 7 is from the right modularity. Yes, it's the same as the 1, so that's right. So it goes down here to here. We don't know whether it goes in there or not. Do we know what this does? Well, this, yes. Ooh. Yeah, this has to drop down here, because otherwise it's never getting out. It's sort of in a cul-de-sac. So it must drop down here, and therefore we know the modularity of this, which is not from 3, 6, 9 or 2, 5, 8. That's got to be 1, 4 or 7. So that is a 4. Oh no, it's not. It's not 4, it's not 1. That's just a 7. Gimme. And then what do these two do? Oh, that's lovely again. I'm starting to see this, because it can go either way. Look, it's got the right modularity in both of these cells. But if it goes here, it's got to stay in the box, stay in the cage before it leaves. And that's going to totally isolate this cell. So we've just got to simply go into the corner there to get out. And slowly but surely, we're worrying away at this puzzle and getting it, well, not done, but we're getting it a little bit more full. Now, where do you think we have to look there? Do I know? Can that not? Maybe that can't. No, it can. I was going to say maybe it can't connect directly the 6 to the 7, but that would have the correct modularity. What about if the 7 dropped down here? This would have to be a 3, 6 or a 9, which it can be. But I'd have to, no, that doesn't work. I don't think the modularity works if I do that, does it? Because the implication there is that this 6 and this 7 have the same modularity, which they most certainly don't. So I have to connect directly. Because if I don't connect directly, I have to drop I have to stay in the cage, and then this is isolated unless we do a direct connection. Yeah, so that's forced, which doesn't tell us anything about this unless this 8 goes in here. Oh, I know what we could look at now. What about this column? I've got virtually this column filled. I need 4 and 7. Yes, I can. The 7 must go at the bottom. So sudoku comes to our rescue. Those squares have got to be 2, 3 and 6. So the 2 comes in, gives me another digit or another reveal. That is a 3, 6 pair. This is a 2, 5 or an 8, and it's not 5 and it's not 2, so we can say it is 8. I've got 4 2s looking at this box. I don't know how long that's been available for, but that cell is available as a fog revealing cell. Oh, it didn't do massive. Well, I say it doesn't do masses, but it gives us that digit. That's got to be from the 2, 5, 8 set, and it's not 2 and it's not 8. So that's 5. That's got to be 8 by exactly the same logic. C's a 5, 2 must be from the 2, 5, 8 set. And we can now... I've got 2 fog cells left. Can I join that 2 to that 7? Yes, that would be the correct modularity. What do I do now then? That 5 is interesting because that... Well, this cage is on the path. The whole of this cage is on the path. So again, I think the path must do that. Which means that we can't hit this 2, can we, directly? Because that 2 is hit too early on the path because it's got the same modularity. So we can put in those 2 x's. And I think if we look at this cage carefully, we've got 2 cells of it. It looks to me like it's got to come into this cell, so it's a 3-cell sequence. So if this dropped down, we could never pick up both of these cells before exiting the cage. So this is going to have to go there, which is into another cage, which we've got to take every cell of. Now, well, I mean, you can see, I think it's going to do that, but let me just think about that. If it does that, it would have to do that. Yeah, and this line segment, is that line segment broken? I think it is, but maybe not. Maybe it's possible for this to come along the bottom, connect up here, and that connects there. That might be okay. Ah, right. Okay, so maybe I can't assume what this does. But would that break modularity? Maybe that breaks modularity, actually. Let me just think about that. So if we did this, we'd need to put another of the 5, 8 sequence there, and that would be too close to this 8. So that's wrong. Okay, sorry, I could have got that much more simply. So instead it must go up, it must go there, it must go there, where it probably just closes, does it? It would be 3, yeah, it would be 3 away if we just do that. If we do that instead, that cell would be 2, 5 or 8 and too close to this cell. So we're starting to understand that must be forced. We don't know the total of this cage though, so that's a little bit recalcitrant. The puzzle's being slightly difficult, as befits a drunken stagger through the streets. Right, so what can we do? Well, maybe I do sudoku. I resist this at every juncture, but these squares are 3, 4 and 9. Now, can we do anything with that? That's not 4. So, oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I love that. That's lovely. So the moment this one's modularity is determined, we can write this digit in because it simply cannot be a 3 or a 9 now. So it's got to be 4. So that one is... Oh, and that's working. Yeah, if I had thought about the modularity, you can see it's working. So this needs to be 1, 4 or 7 to preserve modularity. It can't be 4 or 7, so that's 1. So now we know the bottom digit here must be 5. Okay, so we know the modularity of this cell, which is the same as that one. So this is 3, 6 or 9 and has to be 9, which means this is 1, 4 or 7. And it has to be 7, and that gets our last fog dealt with. We've got a 3, 9 pair in this row. We've not put a 1 into it, so let's put the 1 in. That's got to be a 1 by sudoku. 1, 6, 6, 3. These squares are 4 and 9. Yep, we can do that. 9, 4. These squares are 3 and something. 3 and 7. I can do it. 7, 3. So 4, 8 here. This is a 4. Oh, bobbins. That's 4 or 8 and seems to be able to be either. What about that digit then? 4. That's great. Because that's going to give me my 8 here. So that gives me my 8 and my 4 at the top. These squares are 3 and 6 with an opportunity for... Oh, yes, we get one. 6 and 3. And that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Someone, by the way, on yesterday's puzzle, said I should do. That's the end of the puzzle as we know it. That's the end of the puzzle as we know it. I thought that was quite funny. But what I haven't done, of course, I was about to say that's the end of the puzzle as we know it, but it's most certainly not. I've not done the path. What is this? What a disaster. Right, I can do the path though. I can't go from 8 to 2, so I've got to turn there. So now I hit 3, so I can't go to 6, so then I must go to 1, and then I need a 2, 5 or an 8, so it looks like I've got to go down, and then I need to go to a 3, 6, 3, 6 or 9, both ways seem open, but if I turn right, I'm stranded, so I have to turn left, and then I need a 1, 4 or 7, oh, yeah, and if I go that way, look, my next digit is the same modularity, so I have to dip in there, and that, I think, is the path. What a brilliant puzzle. That is just beautiful, isn't it? The logic, and to combine that logic with the fog of war is just, it's very, very clever. It really was. It was not, to me at least, straightforward. And yeah, quite a long video. Let me use some colouring here. So those are all the same modularity. And then if we go from the 6 to the 3, it's probably a good thing to do this because it's going to be a little bit of a check that every 3 cells I am preserving modularity, which I want to be doing. Obviously, it looks like it's working at the moment. Ooh, no, I thought I'd made a ricket, but that looks okay. So we'll have, should we have, that's that shade. And then here, we should just be 1s, 4s and 7s left on the line if we haven't made a bobbins of it. And it looks okay, doesn't it? So we can have a bluey colour maybe? I hope I've highlighted every cell with its modularity. Loved it. Oh, did I click tick? I'm not sure I did. It's correct. There we go. It's correct. Drunkard's Walk. I managed to do it even without having a gin and tonic, but loved it. Full deck, missing a few cards. Happy birthday to Eliza. Thanks very much for watching. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I do enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.